Yo.
Hey. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 44 of the Insiders on Real Estate and Marketing. We're starting a little bit late today because we had to change to our fancy new studio here. So this is an awesome space.
We're in the newsroom.
We are in the newsroom, and we got news for you. We have somebody here that's going to lay it all out. She's going to straighten us out. She's going to tell us how it goes. Our special guest, Miss Susan Redding of the Redding Group at Keller Williams, is with us. Right? And my co-host here, Mr. Marc Miller, with Secured Title of Texas, who, again, for the fourth year, is sponsoring the Insider. So appreciate that.
You're
How
welcome.
you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing real good.
What's going on?
Well,
tell us the market scoop and well, first of all, give us the Marc scoop.
Marc scoop? Well, I'll have to think about which way I want to go with that.
Oh,
but I had a surprisingly good August.
Yeah.
I didn't say great, but I said a good August.
Yeah.
So we were fairly solid in commercial and residential. New originations surprised me a little bit, up to that side. But the exciting side is that we are moving forward to open an office in McKinney.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so I brought on Sydney Ford, who was with us before, went out and found her way into McKinney and developed a book of business there, and then I stole her away from the company she was working for.
You're so good at that.
I know. And then Susan Podsednik rejoined me, who was
Fabulous.
with
Love
Amanda and
Susan.
I at
Yeah.
Allegiance and Legacy, so I'm excited to have Susan back with us. So we're kind of rocking there. I've got another NDA. I'm actually looking at a title company in East Texas for the first time, about 75 miles outside of Dallas.
You buy them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say we're looking at them.
Yeah,
So anyhow, we're real active. Things are good. I'm pretty excited about it. So anyhow,
It's been kind of a weird summer
it has been
for the market, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What are you thinking as far as going into the fall? Do you think we're going to hover in this position still, or do you think? And I know Susan's going to weigh in on that as well. But
Well, and there's
what
so
are your
many
thoughts?
different aspects of the industry. Like Susan's going to talk about the luxury side of the business. Then, right when I was leaving to come to the show, a new first-time home buyers were coming in to close. And now I'm more curious, and I kind of said, well, what was the rate of interest? And they ended up, I think it was around a $350,000 home at 7.7%. So that's my concern, but they qualified. They had done a little work to get their credit up. They did an FHA side, and they were just as excited as they could be. And I said, well, the market, and this is to your question, softens a little bit coming into first quarter,
Right.
then the opportunity may be to refinance that transaction. Probably FHA, you're probably going to have seasoning first, I think. But so anyhow, my eye is continuing to be on the interest rate because everything else are the right conditions for us in the marketplace.
Well, do you think that there's a chance that they're going to lower the interest rate again in the first quarter?
It'll soften.
It will? Okay.
I even think the Feds may take a pause on this next one because we were concerned about another raise, but I think, a couple more, and we're having we're going to move into some form of real estate recession with that type of movement because it just
we can't let
eliminates
that
more and more people out of the available qualifying market. Now, again, luxury becomes a different discussion. That might be more looking at their portfolios than it is about, because I imagine, Susan, a lot are in cash.
A lot.
When they buy.
Especially those in California coming here.
Yeah. So the debt is not a big of an issue to that side. So anyhow, I just continue to be thankful we're here because this is where the strength of the real estate market is in the country. And so demand will continue to come into our metroplex. So
we've talked about it probably 10 months ago, but we haven't talked about this all summer. What about inventory? Where is that looking right now?
I'd say inventory's still locked low.
Is it?
And therefore, that's why I think you're not getting any kind of price adjustment out there in the market either. That's saying Susan can make some comments to that side of it. So demand high, interest rates high, inventory low.
Interesting
yeah.
scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of luxury clients, the sellers are buying down the rate too.
Oh, yeah.
So that helps when you're buying when you're paying a significant price for a home.
Yeah.
True.
And that gets you through a year, 2 or 3, depending on what the buy down is, to kind of
Yep.
navigate through that. And by then, rate adjustments should be,
Yeah.
we should be back. I think we'll get to eventually to a reasonable rate, which reasonable is going to be between 5 and 6%. And that's a good,
It
that's a
could
good
hover
rate.
there all day long. I'd be
Yeah,
happy
that's a
with
good
that.
rate.
Yeah.
So
Well, we
anyhow.
still have a good rate. Historically, this is still a good. a
Oh,
decent rate.
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
really
It was
is. It's
interesting.
better
I
than 12.
I just
Yeah.
attended our national meeting in Kansas City, and we had a keynote speaker, and he started and pointed out dates, but basically, if you track from, I think it was 2000, and actually it went back before that, basically what it showed is that we have a cycle every 14 years, and we're on the 14th year of that cycle in 2023.
Interesting.
So, it's perspective, because back in those other cycles, interest rates were at 8, 10, 12, 14%, and guess what? Properties were selling. So it's a mindset
It
to
is.
that,
Absolutely.
to much as not,
Isn't that life?
yeah, you either retreat or advance, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
anyhow, well, let me give a little introduction
us
to
a little bit about
Susan.
Susan.
She's just into her 18th year in the real estate industry, but she came through that in a very interesting way as an interior decorator prior to that.
Love that.
So she's really got a flair, and obviously with that, probably had a love of real estate when she was doing that. And she's been married for 31 years, has 2 grown children and some grandchildren running around.
A
and she-
granddog.
And a granddog, got to have those. She's a member of Keller Williams Luxury, and she's an accredited luxury home specialist and an accredited staging professional, and she's in the top 20% of the KW. And to qualify that, what is there, 700 agents in your?
No, just shy of 600, I believe, at
Okay,
this
but
point.
makes the 20% much more relevant to me.
Yeah, yeah.
To that side. And she
Absolutely.
also served as the Agent Leadership Council, ALC, and she's co-chair of the Office Luxury Committee and the Luxury Community Group. So I want her to expand a little bit on that. And they operate under the Redding Group, which consists of 2 other agents, her husband, Mike, great guy, and their son, Andrew. So, and they have a couple of part-time assistants with that. So they got a team.
They do have a
at
team.
that time. So
And they know a little bit about luxury.
they do. So, Susan,
love
welcome,
that.
and
Thank
give me a little qualification on, sort of tie all this in. What's it mean to be a member of the Keller Williams Luxury, and then what's the differentiation between the committee and the community group?
Well, Keller Williams Luxury is Keller Williams wide. It's everywhere, all across the globe. And you can, we used to pay to join, but now we just earn in. You have to sell a certain number of properties over a certain amount within a certain period of
okay.
time.
Makes
And you're
sense.
automatically in. And it allows us to be part of the luxury community group on Facebook, so we can all share each other's luxury listings. They go worldwide. It also causes our listings to automatically sync with Wall Street Journal Online, Barron's, Market Watch, Mansions Global. So our luxury listings automatically are syndicated with those publications.
Great publications.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So your property is seen all over the place. And we have mastermind meetings, and we all just learn from each other. I love it. Sometimes in person, sometimes online. So that's worldwide. The community group that I co-chair is a group of agents who are earned in to luxury. So we get together once every other month or so, and we do a field trip.
I
Sometimes
like
we'll-
what she's saying, earned in.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had Robbie Briggs
Yeah,
on the show?
yeah.
He said something that I've always loved, and I've remembered it. I use it in my marketing, and that is that you cannot be invited into the luxury market. You have to earn it.
Oh,
So I love that. I love
well,
that.
you appreciate anything that you earn more than just handed to you.
And once you earn in, do you have to continue
Yeah,
to?
you gotta keep it up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't, you don't get grandfathered once you're in.
Right.
You gotta keep producing.
Yeah, exactly. So the community group is a group of earned-in agents in our office, and we just bounce things off of one another, learn from one another. The committee is another thing that I help lead, and it's any agent in the office who's already earned in or wants to do more luxury. So we get together and we talk about how do you get the luxury clients? How what do you do when you have them? What do you do with them? You know, what do you do when you do get a luxury listing?
Right.
So that's fun. I love leading that group
Oh, I bet that is interesting.
with another agent in my office. So
And what you have seen over the 18 years, how it's changed, how it's morphed, as far as luxury marketing, building a luxury team.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet that's pretty
I
incredible.
can go back and look at a lot of luxury listings from a long time ago, and most people weren't using professional photography. You could see pictures
remember
taken
those
with their cell phone
Wow.
or some rinky-dink camera. So, yeah, so
And does luxury,
It's changed.
used to be the definition of luxury was anything above 500,000, is that, do you
it depends
qualify
on
in
where
that
you
way?
are.
Okay,
It's about 750 now, I
Yeah,
think.
well, no, 715 for some areas, but Dallas, I just read, is now $1 million and up.
Oh, whoa.
I think they need to adjust those numbers, just saying.
Interesting.
KW luxury people, because that's a first-time home buyer now.
Yeah.
And millennials are the biggest home buyer. Most people know that, but they're buying luxury properties now.
Really?
They're in their mid-late 30s, these people.
yeah.
So they're buying luxury properties. It's so hard to say because my son's a millennial, and I'm thinking, oh my God, these kids are buying
God.
buying
When
luxury
I think
properties.
about
Right.
the first house I bought, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, I'm still in the
Not
first house I bought. Well, how's,
there you
so
go.
speaking of luxury market, give me a little bit of intel on how the luxury market this year is doing, and what's your
Sometimes-
assessment?
Sometimes luxury seems to be doing the opposite of what the rest of the market's doing.
True.
So if the rest of the market's booming, luxury is a little slow, or luxury is booming and the rest of the market seems to be crawling. But right now, I think we're following suit with the rest of the market. Things have slowed down. Showings have slowed. It's just slower.
Right.
It is. I'm
Right.
feeling that.
Do you think that's because of the higher interest rates? That it's slowed down?
Well, it's certainly not the lack of people moving to Texas from other places where they've got a bunch of cash to spend.
Is that still happening?
I don't know. I noticed, I could be wrong, but I noticed the slowdown right about the time school started this time.
That's what I
We're
was
right
thinking.
before school
Yeah,
started.
Yeah,
And usually it doesn't affect us, or the past few years, so this is new. Used to, it would affect us. School started, screeching halt, but now I'm noticing that it did slow down this time.
and then are you seeing the activity picking up in September? And
Not really.
Okay, that's,
You saw it slowing down when school started.
Yeah, I saw it slowing down.
So I'm
when
just
school
curious,
started.
where are the luxury pockets in Dallas? Where would you say that most luxury sales are happening?
Definitely Dallas and Collin County, I think are our two. It's Tarrant County, Collin County, Denton County, year to date, 600-ish sales for $1 million to $3 million,
That's
which I
all?
think is a sweet spot to
Yeah.
look at luxury. Dallas was almost 1,000. And Denton County, I was really surprised. Their average list price, sales price, or sales price, list price ratio was 100.4% over list price for luxury properties. So I didn't dig deep into that, but I saw that and went, what? How is that? I would think that would be more like Dallas, but yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it's such an interesting and vibrant metroplex. So I think that you're going to have a sweep of luxury all over, but we certainly, attribute certain areas in Dallas as the luxury area.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
The Park
Yeah.
Cities
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Highland Park.
University
and then-
Park, Preston Hollow.
They
Yeah.
had the lowest days on market. Luxury in Dallas was about 43 days on market. All those other counties, Tarrant, Dallas, Denton, were 50-ish, between 50 and 60 days
Okay.
on market. So they are still moving.
Are you still seeing that kind of luxury going out? Because you mentioned Collin County. Beyond Collin County, are you seeing it? And I don't even want to say Collin County, but let's look at the cities. So if I'm going toward Allen, McKinney, Princeton, Fairview, those areas, are there luxury pockets in those little areas?
Oh, sure. You got luxury pockets everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
and possibly when you're further north you get, because it's still developing, you're probably
Yes.
dealing with luxury home building
Yeah.
versus
Developments.
a resale.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, out in my
absolutely.
area in McKinney, all the houses are like $750. They've got whole new communities they're building,
Right.
and just luxury pockets
Right.
all over the place out there. So that is considered luxury then, right?
Yes, and it's a good idea to go in there as an agent wanting to get into the luxury field, the luxury market. Friend those builders, friend the ones who are sitting and holding the houses open, the model homes.
Absolutely.
Go, give them your card, take them some donuts, just be their buddy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's just a great way to kind of build your luxury brand a little bit too.
Totally.
So I would think that working with a luxury client has to have some unique approaches to that.
Yeah, you got to pamper them. You got to love on them.
Right. And then the other
I
part.
love on all my clients.
Right. But the other part of that too is, always talk to agents, let's say that they're selling in the 300 to 500,000 range. Everybody always seems to staging because they walk in and it's
a
pack
must.
wrap environment or whatever. What do you experience when you walk into a luxury home and take a viewpoint as an interior decorator's view?
First thing I notice is whether or not it's well staged, and
Okay.
shame on them for not staging. That's
Right.
always the first thing I look at is, do I need to bring the stager in here? And if the house is vacant, bring the stager in here. Let's get some furniture in here.
Right.
These people they're high end. They're high net worth individuals, and they have the best of everything. They fly first class. They shop at Neiman's. They eat at the best restaurants. They expect the best customer service. And I think that when you're making a $50,000 commission, you can afford to spend between $2,000 and $5,000 staging.
And are they more sensitive about that recommendation because of all the other things you've noted? They're always the best of best of best, and all of a sudden you're saying, oh, no, by the way, we probably need to rework this a little bit?
Right. Well, that's the thing, too. You can stage it for living. You can stage it for the market. You know, you go to the grocery store and you're trying to find a box of cereal. You've seen how big the cereal aisle is. Your eye goes right to the prettiest box. It does, every time. And I want your house to be the one everybody's eye goes to. I want you to be the
Right.
prettiest box on the shelf.
Right.
It's just kind of a way I help them understand.
Yeah, I like that, because I think that it's a big difference taking an empty home that belongs to a builder and staging that as opposed to taking someone who just moved to California to take a job and they've got $1 million home and you've got to tell them how to stage and move around the stuff in their
That's right,
house.
right.
Or even worse, when they're actually living here, they're just moving across the street and all their
True.
stuff is there, and you've got to tell them that stuff does not look good there.
Yeah, well, and sometimes if it's, there are certain times where if it's bad enough,
Yeah.
I'll bring the stager in.
Yeah.
A stager who really does this all the time. I can recommend, I have suggestions, but then
Yeah,
I
sure.
bring the stager in, I let her hurt their feelings. So I don't have to.
And is that a dialogue you have prior to securing a listing as part of your initial
Yes.
meeting?
Staging is important.
Okay.
It'll net you 6 to 12% higher. Yeah, that's the latest stat that
So
I've
it's
read.
part of your marketing
Some say
package.
up to 20%, I don't know, but 6 to 12, yeah, it's part of my deal.
Yeah.
And photography, videography, drone work.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your whole marketing package. How are you marketing your listings? How does your team market? How do you approach marketing at the Redding Group?
Every chance I get, beautiful brochures. I like to give those to everyone I know. You know, post it on social media. Open houses. Knock on doors. Who do you know? Pick your neighbors. We're going to be holding this one open. We'd invite you to stop by. Postcards.
So you're still doing open houses?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Once upon a time, we would say, oh, open houses don't really sell houses. Maybe 1% or a little under 1% will help sell a house. I sold my personal home, a luxury property in Flower Mound, because a lady walked into my open house. She came back with her agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's happening. I'm selling houses because of open houses.
It's true. You know,
I
we
don't
bought
know
our
what the
house.
So you're
Yes.
getting
Same
good
way.
traffic is what you're saying when you do
Yes.
an open house versus
Yes.
I'm sitting there all afternoon watching the Dallas Cowboys alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I have some people, I don't want the neighbors walking through my house. I just don't want the neighbors walking through my house. You don't understand. A lot of your neighbors know someone who wants to be in this neighborhood.
Right.
It's fine to let them in.
People are funny. I mean, there's just a lot of different ideas about that.
Yeah,
It's your
absolutely.
personal space, but the home I'm living in right now, I bought it from an open house as well.
Yeah,
So
see, there you go.
it totally works. It totally works. So marketing your team, how are you doing that? How do you attract?
We have client events,
Those
and I like
luxury
to bring
clients.
other people in that way, bring a friend. You know, again, open houses. I mean, we're face to face, belly to belly, meeting these people, talking with them, and
It's a
marketing.
good source of leads right there.
I mean, in person marketing us. We just hired a part-time assistant, another part-time assistant who's going to give us a better presence on social media. So that's going to market us.
Yep.
Yeah, and client events and big grand openings. You know, we launch a new listing in the summer we have a big snow cone truck out front. So people
That's
are
fun.
drawn to it, and they come in and walk through.
Do you get a lot of referrals in the luxury market from a luxury client? Do you find that?
Yeah, they
you
refer
get-
us, is that what you
yeah.
mean? And then also referrals, just being in the network for KW Luxury. They remember me. They saw me at a couple of conventions. We stay in touch, and I get referrals from that.
That's the great wheel of KW.
Yes, the
When you do the
networking.
national
It is.
meetings and things of that nature,
We're
just
crawling
connecting.
around everywhere, those
Yeah.
KW people.
Are
I mean, we're just
everywhere.
all over. You turn around and there's another one. 1 in 5, or excuse me, what is the statistic? 1 in 5 transactions is involving a real estate agent from KW.
Wow.
1 in 5.
They are huge
We're
in
just
Texas.
like-
It's a good company.
We're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, and that's probably nationally, are you referring to,
I
correct?
believe
Yeah,
that stats
yeah,
national.
I would think so.
So how have you seen the market and building a luxury team and marketing change as opposed to 18 years ago and today? What are you doing differently, if anything?
Well, 18 years ago, I wasn't selling any luxury properties. I'll
Right.
tell you that. I didn't
Right.
just wake up one day and my phone started ringing with $1 million clients. How did it change? What do you mean?
Well, but you also.
What are you doing
that
differently
also-
today, marketing a luxury team than you would have done, let's say, 5, 7, 10 years ago?
Oh,
Anything?
everything's different. I don't
Okay,
even
talk to me about
remember
that.
what I
Let's
was doing
step
18
back
years
one
ago.
from that, and let's talk about where you started, and then how you progressed
I
into luxury.
started living in a luxury neighborhood, and I got involved in the neighborhood, and there was another agent there, and it's just kind of an unwritten rule. You know, he owned the neighborhood, so you don't step on their toes. And I told him that. I'm not going to market to the neighborhood. I know you've worked this for a long time, and he appreciated that. But then he did me wrong one time,
Uh-oh.
and I said, okay.
Gloves off.
Here we go. That's right. And so I took over, and now I've sold more homes in that neighborhood in the past 7 years than he has.
Wow.
And I'm very proud to tell the neighbors that when I'm on listing presentations. But what are we doing differently now? I'm just
And you don't have to be doing anything
Wait,
different,
yeah.
right?
no.
yeah.
We're more learning based. Now I'm involved in luxury. I started selling a few more luxury properties, and I found out what this KW Luxury International used to be called. It's just KW Luxury now. I still like the international part. You know, I just got more involved. I sold more and more luxury properties. So, and then learning and networking and. I don't know really what we're doing differently. It's a whole different thing from 18 years ago to now, or even 10 years ago.
Because of
We've
the way your
evolved.
business has evolved.
We've
yeah.
evolved, and I can't really give you bullet points. But
I
Well,
like
and then
that.
in the
Yeah, it's
luxury
good.
side too, post a sale and then sell over a period of time, what, is there a different type of, I'll call it this, a drip campaign you use with your database? Because that's such a unique
Yeah.
grouping of people versus somebody that's not selling in luxury and they got 500 people in their
yeah,
database.
they get a biweekly or monthly nurture
Okay.
email from my. We use Command. It's a big our CRM. It's part of Keller Williams. It's huge and it's awesome. I love it. And so they just get little drip, their birthday or their home anniversary or whatever. They get market updates, and every single month, exactly on the first of the month or first day of the month, I run a market report. I don't care what's happening. I could have COVID. I could be dying of the flu. One time I was in Italy on the first of the month. I was in South Korea on the first of the month. I ran those numbers because if I run it on the second day of the month, those numbers could look different. So the neighborhood, especially that I farm in Flower Mound for my luxury clients, I run that, and I think they're seeing some value in that. And running it
Great.
long enough, you can see what's happening now over this time last year, the average days on market, you know, average list price, sales price ratio, all that. So I think people are finding value, but that's a big thing I do, is my pulse is on my fingers on the pulse of the market out
Well, I
there.
think that's very important.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I do, because that's good knowledge. It's knowledge that you're sharing, you're setting yourself up
Yeah.
as the person who knows and understands
I'm
that
the
part of the market.
economist of choice in the neighborhood for sure. And
There you go.
and those who've, you know, consulted with me about selling their house, are just not quite ready, or they've sent me referrals, or they have bought and sold with me before. I have my top 25, my A-list people, and they all get a gift quarterly from a company called Client Giant. ClientGiant.com. Give Susan Redding's name if you decide to use them, because then I get a little discount. I get a little perk. But they send a quarterly gift. It's something new. It's seasonal, whether it's a little herb garden, or if it's a travel kit, or a beach blanket, a charcuterie board cookbook. So there's all kinds of things, and it gets my phone ringing. Oh my gosh, I just got your dryer balls, or whatever. There's these dryer balls that absorb the
it
liquid
sounds
and
like-
beat your laundry up, and it's, they just cute little things, and it's coming from me.
Yeah.
There's a note in there about what it is and why.
It's your
And
brand.
thank you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
being who you are.
That's good.
And it gets my phone ringing. Hey,
And what's the name of that company again?
ClientGiant.com.
ClientGiant.com.
And there's ways to send other gifts like birthdays, graduations, anniversaries.
I think things like that are unique.
Yes.
They're important. People remember that, and
Yes.
you're doing it.
But if you send it to their office, it's even a bigger deal because then everybody, another gift from your agent. And I do pop by gifts too sometimes, but it just depends. But you send it to their office, the other employees kind of look around like, oh, another gift from your realtor? That's so cool. Guess who they want to use whenever they're buying and selling? I send presents.
There you
Awesome. That's awesome.
go. And I assume there'd be generational sales opportunities as well within these families.
Absolutely.
That you sell to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But the luxury client, you asked what's different, how I treat them differently. You just love on them. They're used to first class. You've got to give a first class
Treat them
customer.
first class.
Yes,
I
and
love that.
little gifts along the way too. Besides what Client Giant sends, little gifts, milestone gifts. We call it surprise and delight. After the listing appointment, I send them some warm cookies to thank them for their time. And the other agents typically didn't do that. They tell me. For a milestone, the signing of the listing agreement, they get a little gift. The day of photography, maybe I'll bring a bouquet of flowers. The day that they get an offer, or the day they hit the MLS, the day they get a contract.
Awesome. That's great.
Little milestones along the way. You don't have to give a great big expensive gift at closing. So
Segueing toward the end of the show, I wanted to talk a minute about Chat GPT and talk about surprise and delight. I have a story about surprise and delight with Chat GPT because I have always, ever since I guess the last 12 months, it's been going on a lot longer than that, but for the last 9 months, it's been very, very much talked about. It's out there now. They have apps, and I've just said, no, we are writing real content from real people. I'm not going to do that. And I've just kind of stood my ground. And then I had a client, and I had written some copy for the client, and they're out in New York. They're a international client, and they've got some books. So, I'm learning on a learning curve of how to communicate in his tone. And he said, just use Chat GPT. This needs to be more flowery. This needs to be more exciting content than this. Just use Chat GPT. And I was almost offended. I was like, okay, whatever. And so I thought, well, all right, this is my client's asking me to do this. I'm going to check this out. So I downloaded the app, and I typed in a sentence that, encapsulated what I needed to say about this book. And guys, it spit out the most beautiful paragraph, 3 paragraphs. The longer it waited, the more it came out. And I was shocked. I was surprised and delighted. So here's the thing. The pros and cons of using AI is that, and I sound like I might be contradicting myself because last month I said you need to step away from technology to find your voice. And I stand by that. You do. But once you've found your voice, it doesn't hurt to have a little assistant. And so put on your editor's hat, go to Chat GPT. If you need something written, if you're wanting to do a brochure, if you're wanting to send a special letter about something, then you can do that. Then put on your editor's hat as though this person works for you, and you can decide how it needs to be arranged or how it needs to be edited.
But you got the content.
But you've got the content.
Yeah.
And guys, it's really incredible because the more that you have, this client of mine is an international artist. He's very well known in the Persian community. So ChatGPT doesn't have any problem finding content about him and about his products. So it was able to pull it all together and make this beautiful expose, if you will, of these books that he was offering. I've then tested it on other things, and it might struggle because what I'm asking it to write about, there's not a whole lot of content on the web about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that would require me to really do some editing because it actually might make stuff up. And Chat GPT
Oh, yeah,
has
they're-
been found to just
Yep.
pull stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know,
I admit I've used it for the romance, which is the MLS property description. Sometimes if I have writer's block,
yeah,
that's just the worst part, is trying
Yeah.
to find an eloquent way
it is.
to describe this property. And you put in the basics in Chat GPT every time. Yes, I just edit just a little bit.
Yeah, so I
You
think
know-
it's
you know,
really
you can
exciting. I
also-
mean, it's fun.
You can also tell it to give it to you like Jim Carrey would,
Yeah.
for instance.
Yeah.
And the text that come across is like, alrighty then. and it's something Jim Carrey would say, and it's just the
Yeah.
funniest thing. So you can, or like maybe a pirate would say.
Now you can actually set it up in your profile. It
Yep.
will ask you, how do you want me to deliver stuff? And then it has all the options. So download the app if you want to try this out, and be sure you answer all the questions because it's basically, interviewing you to find out what your tone is, what your position is, and the more information that you give ChatGPT, the better it's going to be able to work for you. But so don't be afraid of it. I'm not afraid I'm going to lose my job because of it. But you know what? I might have to, in my world of copywriting, it might mean that I have to become a little bit more of an editor sometimes if clients are coming to me and they have allowed ChatGPT to do a lot of stuff and maybe it's not right, it doesn't sound right, because you still have to be authentic. That's the main thing to remember. So don't be afraid. Just be authentic with it and put on your editor's hat and give it a try. I think it should be fun.
I agree.
So that's our time on the show today. I want to go to our 3 takeaways real fast.
I thought we
Mark,
just
you wanna
got started.
I know we did. We did just get started.
Oh, well, one of the things that just echoed with me was Susan giving a description of what she does with clients or prospects in terms of the gift side of it. We came back with one of the expressions that stuck with me was called customer surprise. And it was that point about how to win customers and clients and surprising them with things that are not being done by your competition, so to speak, to that side. So that reminds me a lot of that, of the customer surprise. Don't underestimate the fundamentals, which are staging, open houses, things. Always go back to fundamentals in this business,
Absolutely.
regardless of how long you've been in it or where it's going.
Pop buys, the phone calls.
Yeah, those type of things. And, luxury is very unique, and I love the narrative about earned their way in because
Love that.
you can't just pop into this space and suddenly be selling luxury homes.
That's
It's
right.
a progression to get there. And once you're there, good stuff. And I've always thought how exciting it would be to be in that space only from the interesting people that you would meet that buy or sell in that price point
Yeah.
are interesting, have interesting lives and have been very successful, obviously, as well. So you probably made some pretty incredible friends along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Of that side as
Lifetime,
well.
lifelong.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about luxury, you got to progress into luxury, and if you're out there considering buying or selling, then you need to have somebody that knows that space.
Absolutely.
Because that's a different,
And
it's
I
a
love
different world.
teaching it.
Yeah,
I love teaching it. I love helping other agents
That's
break
awesome.
in.
there you go, giving back.
So if you
those
want to
my-
be in the luxury market, find a luxury company.
Absolutely. So,
We sell more
those-
luxury than any other brokerage.
there
too.
you go.
We do.
Susan, what are your 3 takeaways? 3 things that you'd like to leave with our audience today?
Well, I feel like I did all the talking.
Well, you're supposed
It's
to.
all right. You put a microphone in front of your face, girl. It's all right.
Well, ChatGPT for sure, which I already knew, but I've forgotten, probably stay authentic. Don't just count on what spits out and editing it. Just try to, I didn't know that I could go in and do something to cause me. Do you have to do the upgraded version of ChatGPT to get that?
You have to, no, because mine's free. So it's just on the app.
I know, but there's an upgraded
There's
part.
an
I would
upgrade,
imagine.
but you have to pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always
Okay.
an upgrade of
But
something.
to remember
Right.
to be authentic, because I always want to be authentic anyway. What you see is what you get, and I don't want to be all
Yeah, authenticity is most important.
flowery, as you put it. When people say that's not Susan, it's not something she would say. Another one, gosh, I don't know. I took, since I did all the talking, I felt like I don't know what kind of takeaway I really got, other than reminding myself to love on my clients
There you go.
really, truly, and to keep teaching, stay learning based, always be willing to help others. That's what it's all about. Gary Keller says we're not in the real estate business, we're in the people business. And maybe a third one, gosh, I just don't know. I feel, I don't know what to say. To not be as frightened as I thought I would be sitting here on this panel, because I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
My palms are still wet. And
You're doing great.
yeah, but yeah.
Well, that says keep pushing
I
yourself.
just appreciate this
Yeah.
opportunity
Yeah.
to be here. I just think the world of you.
Well, thank you.
And your people at Secured Title of Texas.
I've got a good team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do.
yeah, and they love working with you as well, by the way. So
Oh,
that makes
good.
for a great
Well,
combination
it
when,
does.
yeah, when everybody's syncing in the same chemistry. And,
Absolutely.
And we understand the importance of the luxury side as well, so we don't want to disappoint,
No, absolutely.
because that's an experience
No.
to itself
Yes,
as
we
well
sit down
when they
and
come into
there's
close.
a little board with cheese and meats and
And there you go.
chocolates and champagne, and
There we go.
this is what you get with your title company.
We have a little celebration.
That's right.
Yeah, we're celebrating too.
I love it, and thank you so much. It's been wonderful to
Thank
have
you.
you on the show. Appreciate everything that you've shared, and Mark, his team with luxury, and I'm sure with Susan's team with luxury. The thing that's better than champagne and a charcuterie board is having someone who knows what they're doing and is looking you in the eye and communicating and taking care of all the stuff. That's luxury. Luxury is how you take care of something. I've always
right.
taught this. It's how you take care of something. It's
a
not
level of
how
service.
much it costs.
Right.
It's how you take care of something. So I think you're going to be in good hands with the Reading team or with Secured Title of Texas or with my company, Sandy Hibbard Creative, because all of us are in it to help you. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you next month.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you.